And the one thing that I kept stressing to them is that we have to send one unified message, and they can't hear Dr. Watley out saying one thing and me saying something else, and then Clay saying a third thing. So, the one thing that we agreed upon in that back room early on was that we would send one message and it would speak with one voice. In the early part of this, because we didn't know what information to trust coming from different networks, from Annapolis and from Washington and from other sources. We really didn't know what sources of information to trust ourselves at some points. So, the discussion in the back room at times got kind of heated as we were trying to piece this together as to what approach we would take. So it was quite a interesting time to be a part of county government, to be seated as the president and working with our partner agencies to keep this all together and keep everybody moving in the same direction. We've been at this now, some 200, I believe, 82 days now since we invoked our emergency resolution back on March the 16th. And, when the council first passed that resolution, you're thinking, 90 days we're going to be done with this, and by the time summertime comes and the weather gets warm, we won't need the mask anymore and the 6 feet social distancing anymore. But 90 days came and went, and the summer again, the baseball season was abbreviated and basketball season were abbreviated, and there was no Little League baseball, and I live close to North Park here in town. And I was used to sitting out in my backyard on the deck, listening to the kids, laugh and have a good time at the park. And this summer it was dead silence over there, I tell you. At that early stage, I remember we all was somewhere there. Dr. Wiley and Kelly Griffiths, Sheriff Gamble, myself, and the council members were there, of course. We weren't masked in the early days. Going back to conflicting, different messages. I want to say conflicting. But early on, there was even debate about whether masks were needed or necessary. You had Dr. Fauci at one point saying, the general public doesn't need a mask, but if you're in an emergency response team, you should wear a mask. If you're inside of an ER, you should wear a mask. But general public, you don't need to wear a mask. And the backside of that story that I heard later on was because there was such a short supply of masks. They didn't want a rush on masks, as we know there's other personal items that have flown off the store shelves that we don't see anymore. But so I heard that was the reason why that early message came out nationally for the public not to go out and need masks. But then that quickly changed as we got more into this pandemic and we knew more about the way this virus spreads. Absolutely, yeah. If you asked me this question, April, May, I knew no one personally that had been infected with the virus. Now today, I know in my family, extended family, at least 5 individuals, that have been infected with the virus. And thank God they recovered. But yeah, go back 5 months ago, I probably would have said, no, I don't know anyone personally that have been infected. And now off the top of my head, I can think right now 5 of my family members that have been infected and called or text and let us know that they were home and they were quarantining and trying to recover as best they could. And again, thankfully, they all did recover. So, but we have to now, as we are looking for the vaccine to be distributed, and I'm hoping that all Americans, all Talbot Countyans do take the vaccine. I know there's a lot of conversation about trusting the vaccine and whether or not the vaccine was rushed. I feel very confident, and even in the conversations I've had with our local health officials here, that the vaccine has gone through all the necessary trials that are needed, and that the vaccine, the efficacy rate of the vaccine has been proven. So I'm going to please ask and plead that everyone take the vaccine when we get it. But I don't think our numbers are jumping up as fast as they are in other places in the state. I think we're still at around 10 deaths recorded here in Talbot County. I think our infection numbers the last time I looked was somewhere around 900 infected. So again, that's 900 too many, and that's 10 too many. So we have to keep on, as Dr. Fauci said, practicing our social distancing, wearing our face masks, washing our hands, and make sure that we limit our social gatherings. There may have been some things that we could have done better in communicating, but on balance, I think that we did stay uniform. I think on balance, we did work within our own system of government here in Talbot County and make sure that we made decisions that we all could live with. Doesn't mean that in the back room we all agree with, how we were going to proceed, but it was something that we could live with and that we knew was going to help the citizens out. There was a lot of back and forth early on when council decided to close down the short-term rentals in the county. We had to sit down with Tony Cooper Smith in the Office of Law and make sure that this was something that the council could do. When we decided to close the bars and restaurants for a time here in the county, although the governor had passed it on to the local counties to do that, again, we knew that East Sim was going to get hit hard. We knew that St. Michael's was going to get hard. But in consultation with the health officer, we felt at that time we had to try to find a way, a new terminology, flatten the curve, to flatten the curve here in Talbot County because our numbers and our case rates were reaching a very alarming level. Let me say this, I don't know as far as the worst of it because we're not through it yet. But I can say what Talbot County did for its small business owners and its restaurants here in the county. We received the CARES funding, and what the county did, we received $3.2 million. We took $1.5 million of that and gave it to Cassandra Van Hooser and our Economic Development Commission. And we pumped $1.2 million back into the business community here in Talbot County. We then received another $535,000 from the state for restaurants. We put that right back into the restaurant community here in Talbot County. We then transferred over another $250,000 and put it back into the business here in Talbot County. So we pumped nearly $2 million back into the economy here in Talbot County to keep businesses and restaurants open here in the county. We put another $1.5 million onto our individual care side to help our people with their utility bill and their rent and their mortgage and their car payment and their child care expenses because we knew that there were some people who were out of work and we knew that they couldn't afford to pay their bills. So, we took those CARES dollars, and we're very thankful for Congress for putting that money out there into the states and for the states to trust the counties to make good with that money. Now, we're still trying to spend down the 1.5 on the individual side, and we're gonna make that goal before December the 30th, when the balance of those unspent funds have to go back to the state, which in turn have to turn them back over to the feds. So we're looking to make sure that we have enough PPE. We're looking to make sure that we have enough food in our pantries to feed our citizens. We're looking to make sure that we have enough to supplement our volunteer fire departments who have been hit very, very hard through this time, and to make sure that we're addressing their needs when impacted by COVID. So we're going to look across the landscape to as many touch points as we possibly can, whether it be with food or clothing or shelter or PPE. We're gonna put that money into as many pockets as we possibly can here in the Talbot County. So will there be some small businesses that won't make it through? Probably so, But I think we've done as best we could with the funds that we had to put those dollars back out and as quickly as we can. So to our Economic Development Commission, Cassandra Van Hooser and her team, I very much appreciate, my hats off to them. We brought Linda Webb in from the Department of Social Services and Marilyn Neal from the Neighborhood Service Center, and we put that team together along with Angela Lane, our fiscal officer, and her team, who had to monitor all the spending to make sure that we were dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. And the last thing we wanted to do is get audited back from the state for spending irregularities. So for the team that came together, they really, again, put shoulder to the wheel and got the job done. So long-winded way to answer your question is no, I don't know. I don't think we know the final impact yet, but I think along the way we tried to pump as much money back into Talbot County as we possibly could. Andy Hollis and I have spent 13 years together in county government, and we weren't just co-workers, but we also developed a friendship. And as county manager and council president, there were many, many times, we had conversations with the doors closed, just he and I. And he was probably the only person that could tell me to my face when I was doing something wrong, and probably that I would listen to. And so we had some very frank conversations. I could not appreciate his tuilages as I grew through the year. And he's going to be missed, but we wish him well in his retirement as he goes on in his life. Clay's coming in, as you know, to be county manager. So we're going to have to backfill that emergency services position, which is going to be very, very important as we go through the backside of this COVID pandemic. And Dr. Frida Watley is leaving us, and we got Dr. Watley after she had already retired from doing her term in Tennessee. And she was coming here basically to relax and just enjoy her retirement. And then we knocked on the door and said, hey, do you think you can come over and help us out for a couple of years? So we knew we weren't going to have her for a long span. She told us when she took the position that this would not be a long run. And so we wish Dr. Watley another retirement that she's certainly earned. And we got as much out of her in this last year that we can get out of her. And I think we could not ask for a better health officer than her in dealing with this pandemic. And I also want to wish very well to Mary Kay Verdery, our planning officer, who's also retiring. Across the landscape, people might think, well, Corey Golly, you got people jumping, leaving the ship. Is it really that bad in Talbot County? No, these are people who've earned their retirement. They put the time in. They've given this county and the citizens here their best job, and I couldn't be happier for each and every one of them. They're moving on to the next phase of their career. And I remember when I stepped away from state government after 25 years, it was, when it's time to go. When it's time to go, and so we want to wish them the best as they move on in their life. We cannot continue on with the system of revenue generation here in Talbot County. We cannot. If you want to be a 21st century county, then we're going to need the revenue in order to do that. You're going to need to retain detention center officers. You're going to be able to retain deputies of your sheriff's department. You're going to need to be able to retain your paramedics and do the capital projects that need to be done. And so I couldn't have been more happier with the citizens. I spent a couple of days doing early voting out in front of the Eastern Fire Station with a few of our deputies and answering questions as people came about. Well, what does this mean, and what does constant yield mean? And so, but we were there to answer questions, and we were there to show people that this is important to us. It's important to you for your future. So I was very happy that was passed. Resolution 290. At least I thought that we had checked all the boxes to get a positive result out of that resolution. I think that the people, the citizens of the county, at least the ones that I've spoken with, are still very determined to make sure their voice are heard on this issue. And I just hope that members who voted in opposition will give those voices the appropriate time to listen to them, and not just listen with your ear, but listen with your heart. And I've said before, hey, look, I was on the wrong side of this issue 5 years ago, and I've said my apologies before. And it took me time to really internalize what that symbol means to people, and what it means and what it says about this county. And I really had to defend this county before a lot of national and statewide commentators who have called me up, and reporters who have asked to talk with me. And I said, oh, wait a minute, time out. Talbot County is still a great place to live, and they're like, well, how can you live down there? And I was like, wait, you're getting the wrong message here. And so, I had to say, back up, this county has the biggest heart of any county that I've lived in. The philanthropy that happens here, the volunteerism that happens here, the giving that happens here. You could not find a better place of people who would just give and give abundantly of their cabinet and of their resources. So don't take that vote as a broad brush that says Talbot County is a right nasty and hateful place. No, that's not the case. Even in your family, you have the bad uncle. you have the relative that you don't want to invite back for Thanksgiving dinner. That doesn't mean the whole family is bad. And in this particular case, we got this wrong. And I think, my fellow council members who voted in opposition got this wrong. But if you look across the spectrum, Talbot County has a lot of good things here, a lot of damn good people here. Yeah, don't. And I've had to defend, and I've talked to a number of reporters over the year, again, both nationally and locally. And at the end of the conversation, I'd always say, this place, I chose to stay here, and I don't regret living here. Yeah.
Great way to end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.